Ladies and gentlemen, No King's Day protest marches were an absolute disaster yesterday. And what just happened on MSNBC is nothing short of pure desperation for the failed Democrats and their defunct party. They have gone so far left and completely off the deep end, and now to the point where even other liberals are calling them out on their blatant lies and fake news and misinformation reporting. And so you see, yesterday, October 18, 2025, saw a wave of demonstrations sweep across America under the banner of the No Kings rally, from major cities like New York and Los Angeles to smaller towns in every state. Estimates claim wildly broad attendance from anywhere as low as 3 to as high as 7 million people having gathered in over 2,600 events nationwide. This marked the second major mobilization of its kind this year, following a June event that drew up to 5 million participants. But at its core, the No Kings rally is framed as a defense of democratic principles. Organizers, a broad coalition of over 200 groups, including civil rights advocates, labor unions, environmental organizations, and faith-based networks, emphasize a simple message. America has no kings, and the power belongs to the people. But tell us something we don't know, right? It's positioned as a nonviolent stand against what participants see as threats to core institutions and issues like government shutdowns affecting federal workers, cuts to social programs, immigration enforcement policies, and broader concerns over checks and balances in leadership. And folks out there like Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and other Democrats want to stand on business that the rallies echo America's founding ideals, invoking the rejection of monarchy in favor of elected representation. Supporters, some paid, but no official check stubs have been produced for me to review yet, argue it's a vital exercise of First Amendment rights, a reminder that no one is above the law, and a call for accountability amid political gridlock. And might I add that the political gridlock and government shutdown is because of the very same people protesting. But let's not try to apply too much logic to the liberal mind. But anyway, in places like Washington, D.C., where Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer joined crowds, or in Minneapolis and in Portland, where homeless lay unalive on sidewalks and in the streets, the energy was electric. Tens of thousands chanting for unity and reform, I think.
Okay, can I just say something? I am here at the No Kings protest. I've been following this protest for about 3 hours now.
Justice! When do we want it? Now! No kings! USA where freedom reigns! No crowns! No kings!
Trump's a bitch.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. We don't like him. That's the word around here.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else saying.
I am wearing my official New York City press badge, and it says Turning Point USA on it. Now, I have been standing here taking B-roll footage. I'm not even interviewing people today. And this is a message for all of the people who say that journalists like myself and the journalists who were at the Antifa Roundtable are agitators. I'm standing here doing nothing, and I have had people come up to me, read my press badge, and then try to make a point of telling me that Charlie was a racist anti-Semite and that I am a problem, essentially. All I'm doing is standing here and taking footage.
There ain't no king, ain't no king in the USA.
In particular, the nonprofit and independent media on the streets every day, including Block Club Chicago, Unraveled Press, and The Tribe, to say
Rising up, he ain't no fool, no matter what he says.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC. Wow. All right, coming up.
So anyways, that's what it's like being at a liberal protest. I have footage dropping soon of how aggressive these older men were being. Like, the police even had to step in and be like, hey, back up, because they watched them come up to me and start swarming. Anyway, footage of that dropping soon.
I just want to say that you all look really dumb having another No Kings protest. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I mean, talk about just a bunch of greasy, unemployed communists running around talking about fighting back against fascism, when I can't help but notice how rich and how hypocritical that is. Because who was it again? Which party was the party that called for censorship, that called for politically persecuting opponents, controls the entire mainstream media and all of the narratives, threatens people who doesn't agree with them, and believes it's justified to kill people and celebrate the deaths of people that they don't agree with? You know, the people who are like, comply or else, or we should be able to take your freedoms away for the greater good. Yeah, you. Look in the mirror. You are everything you claim to be against. You are the true fascists here.
Yet, as with many large-scale movements, questions arise about the forces driving them. Public records show significant backing from progressive foundations, including multi-million-dollar grants from entities like the Open Society Foundations, tied to billionaire philanthropist and evil villain George Soros, to key organizers such as Indivisible, which has coordinated logistics and outreach. And might I add, two of the loudest voices challenging President Trump, Pritzker and Johnson. Did you approve stealing money from the taxpayers to give to the NGOs who are not serving the people as intended? Chicago caught laundering $1 billion to NGOs, funds that were normally set aside for seniors, people with disabilities, and single mothers, is now being funneled to illegals and LGBTQ programs that serve political agendas, not necessary needs. Oh, and GoFundMe was just caught creating over 1 million NGO pages and accepting donations without them even knowing.
I'm Representative Brad Halbrook of the 107th District of Shelbyville. Today we're turning our attention to a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, that's being funneled into political connected non-government organizations, or NGOs. This wasn't uncovered by government watchdogs, but concerned Illinoisans and Republican legislators that our grassroots effort we call DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. Before we show you where the money's going, we need to ask one simple question. Why is government funding NGOs at all? First, there's no transparency. NGOs aren't subject to the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. Taxpayers can't see how their money is being spent. Just last week, a lawsuit was filed because the state refused to release a contract detailing how much public money was being sent to specific groups. Second, the budget language is vague and on purpose. These grants are buried under broad terms with little or no detail. Lawmakers are being asked to approve funding without knowing how the money will be used or even who's getting it. Third, the human services budget has been hijacked. It used to mean helping seniors, helping single mothers, and people with disabilities. Now it's packed with programs for politically aligned groups offering vague services like parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, and many are race or identity-based initiatives that serve political agendas, not real need. Fourth, this spending undermines real charity. Faith-based groups and private charities are being pushed aside while politically connected NGOs scoop up taxpayer dollars. The government is picking winners and losers and rewarding those who keep the majority party in power.
Tonight, 7 on Your Side is looking into a new product that GoFundMe uses to solicit donations for nonprofit organizations.
Except in one local case, the organization had no idea. 7 on Your Side, Stephanie Sierra is live with the story tonight. Steph.
Yes, Alma and Dan, GoFundMe has created nonprofit pages for more than 1 million charities using public data. But as we learned from a local 7 on Your Side viewer, some of these nonprofits are unaware these pages even exist. Dave Dornless is the treasurer for the Friends of the San Bruno Public Library and the president of the San Bruno Amateur Radio Club. Recently, he got a call from the library that left him puzzled.
One of our patrons at the library wanted to make a donation in someone's name who had passed away.
He says the person went online and found a GoFundMe page tied to the library's nonprofit and wanted to know if it was legit.
And it's something that we did not set up. We weren't sure what was going on.
Turns out GoFundMe created the page, but Dave had no clue, and he's not the only one. GoFundMe has taken upon itself to create nonprofit pages for 1.4 million 501c3 organizations using public IRS data along with information from trusted partners like the PayPal Giving Fund,
which really make it easy for nonprofit organizations to connect with our community of over 200 million on GoFundMe. And so what we were finding is people were already coming to GoFundMe to organically support nonprofit organizations.
Krista Lamp is the senior director of nonprofit communications at GoFundMe. She explains some nonprofits will claim the page, meaning the organization has full visibility over donor data, donor stewardship, branding, and how they choose to leverage their page. But according to Dave, both the library and radio club nonprofits were not claimed. Leaving him frustrated, GoFundMe didn't consult him first.
And the fact that they would just on their own build pages for nonprofits that they've never spoken to is a problem. I'm a believer in opt-in, not opt-out.
Based on his comments to us, is there an opportunity in the future for GoFundMe to contact these nonprofits directly prior to creating the pages?
I think the more we can communicate and speak to the nonprofits directly is always beneficial for us. We plan to do even more communication directly to nonprofits.
Dave says he struggled to find anyone to contact from GoFundMe about this, so he reached out to 7 on Your Side for help.
Only after you became involved, they contact us. They also solicit a tip of 14.5%. In other words, they say, we're doing this and we're great people and give us 14.5% to do this, which doesn't have to happen. And that's what bothers me.
When we checked, the optional tip was actually set for 16.5%. The consumer is required to move the bar to adjust accordingly.
These completely optional contributions really make it possible for us to offer our fundraising tools, our customer support, and really support our global team of trust and safety experts.
The tip would be in addition to a 2.2% transaction fee GoFundMe charges nonprofits, plus 30 cents per donation. That fee goes up to 2.9% for individual fundraisers. Now, both GoFundMe pages of Dave's nonprofits have been removed from the site. Any organization can do so by clicking Unpublish on the platform.
But other donors like Swiss billionaire Hans-Jörg Wyss have funneled millions more into similar networks. These funds support training, mobilization, and media efforts, raising fair discussions about transparency in grassroots activism. Oh, and check this one out. ABC News had a helicopter in the air ready to capture the No Kings Yes on Prop 50 California redistricting human banner with their HD news cameras yesterday. I mean, what are the odds? It's almost like they knew this would happen ahead of time. Can someone say paid and organized propaganda? But while the foundation stressed their role is limited to nonviolent civic engagement, critics point to patterns in past protests where such support amplified specific narratives. It's also worth noting the rally's audience skewed heavily toward self-identified Democrats and progressives with endorsements from figures like Bernie Sanders and AOC. This isn't unusual for street actions on these topics. Conservative voices, including Republican leaders like House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senator Ted Cruz, have dismissed them as hate America gatherings tied to fringe elements.
If my ancestors as slaves can lead the greatest general strike in the history of this country, taking it to the ultra-rich and big corporations, we can do the same today. I'm calling on black people, white people, brown people, Asian people, immigrants, gay people from around this country to stand up against legacy will live on because of this generation. Are you ready to take it to the courts and to the streets?
We are, right, when we're seeing just the depth of the attacks that are happening, trying to roll back all those gains that were won through past struggle, that you were talking about. And they're not going to win. They're not going to do it. This crowd out here is showing why they're not going to do it.
It's our money. It's supposed to go to us. And so when we go on a general strike, we're basically saying we want our money to go back to us. We want our power to go back to us, not to these fascists.
But a closer look reveals a common thread in modern protests, as they often rally around high-level ideals like democracy or no tyranny. Yet many attendees, when interviewed on the ground, struggle to articulate specifics, focusing instead on emotional appeals or vague fears of authoritarianism.
Okay guys, we're here as a Christian conservative at a No Kings rally, and we're gonna have some conversations with people and see why they believe President Trump is putting their freedom in danger. I'm a Christian, so I love Jesus, and I also happen to love President Trump. I was wondering, you're at the No Kings protest today, I was wondering how President Trump has put your freedom in jeopardy.
I wouldn't say my freedom's in jeopardy.
Yeah. So whose freedom's in? Why are you out here at the No Kings protest, I guess?
Sorry.
I was wondering, what has President Trump done to put your freedom in danger?
We have something coming. I think that he has done so by sorry, we weren't expecting to be on.
Like, you're not cute. This isn't funny. Oh, you're so sweet.
And very quickly, I want to thank our video sponsor, Chapter, for providing my subscribers with free Medicare consultations that save people an average of $1,100 a year. The Medicare annual enrollment period, AEP, through December 7th can be stressful and overwhelming for seniors. Many are bombarded with spam mail, calls, emails, and texts from pushy agents, sometimes leading them to switch to a worse plan despite having one that fits their needs. Others avoid reviewing their plan altogether, fearing the hassle or being taken advantage of, especially if their current plan worked fine last year. But skipping a plan review is risky. Medicare plans change every year. Some even disappear entirely. If you don't check, you could lose coverage for your doctors or prescriptions or end up overpaying for care in 2026. That's where Chapter comes in. Our friends at Chapter, they're the only Medicare advisor that searches every plan nationwide to find the best one for your needs and budget. There's no one size fits all, folks. Their free consultations take under 20 minutes, and a quick call can save you big. And look, folks, if you're on the right plan for 2026, they'll confirm it. If not, they'll help you switch to one that protects your health and wallet. Don't wait until the December 7th deadline. Chapter gets busy, folks, so call them today at 270-467-2426 for peace of mind and to ensure you're all set for 2026. Again, the number's on the screen. Dial 270-467-2426 and tell them Kevin sent you. In New York, for instance, some marchers praised local figures like Zohran Mamdani as anti-establishment heroes without delving into policy details. It's a phenomenon we've seen before. Passionate turnout for symbolic causes, but the why sometimes feels more scripted and sourced from personal conviction. But this dynamic highlights a broader irony in American discourse. While both sides invoke the Constitution, it's often one that dominates the pavement. Conservatives, we tend to channel energy through votes, town halls, or online advocacy, rarely mirroring the scale of these mass marches. And in fact, I can't think of honestly one single Republican-led protest that would even come close to resembling the uselessness and waste of time and resources like this No King's Day Democrat shenanigan.
I'm standing in front of the world's largest egg, and I just had some thoughts on today's No Kings protest. While I respect a person's right to assemble in protest, that's a democracy, I can't help but think what these millions of people could have done United States wide if they just spent it in the community being productive. Cleaning graffiti, picking up trash, helping the homeless, working with addicts, spending money at small businesses that desperately need it because of the homeless crisis. I mean, there's so much that could have been done. So in Portland, Oregon, there was about 10,000 protesters, and I can't help but think what that difference could have made, because 10,000 people in Portland, within one day, you would see this remarkable change. And again, I respect a person's right to protest. I'm just thinking, do that once a month, but then another one day a month, help the community. So imagine how much could get done if we actually started working together again. That's all I'm saying.
Every time President Trump sends in the National Guard to protect a Democrat-run city, it's the same white liberals who hide behind private security that call it authoritarianism. But tell me something, who's protecting the people of Boston, Bushwick, New York City, San Francisco, Memphis, Philadelphia, Paterson, New Jersey, Detroit, Michigan? In Chicago alone, there are over 2,500 shootings every year. Every year! More than 600 homicides annually. You can count on it. It's perennial. And thousands of sexual assaults, robberies, and burglaries. That's not a statistic, folks. That's an entire neighborhood. That a mother who can't let her kids play outside, a grandmother sleeping on the floor to avoid stray bullets. And you have the nerve to have a No Kings rally? What's wrong with you people? And what do these so-called activists actually do for us? They rally by the tens of thousands. Not to stop the shootings in my neighborhood, but to stop the National Guard from stepping in to protect us. They don't live where their compassion lands. They don't hear the gunfire. They don't smell the fear. But they'll protest protection and call it justice. You want equity? Well, then trade places with us. You run your mouth about equity, trade places with us. You want understanding? Move into our community. Move into the community that your votes destroyed. Safety isn't authoritarianism. It's human, it's moral, it's biblical. And if it's good enough for your neighborhood, it should be good enough for mine. Stop calling protection oppression.
Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people saying, oh, but, it's a terrible thing. No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead.
Something that I've heard in interviewing Republicans is that they're concerned with the health care going to undocumented immigrants. What would you say about that?
I don't know that it's true. Everybody deserves health care, and we can certainly afford it in this country. So again, they're just, they're pointing to things and saying it's our fault, we're too liberal. Yeah, it's really depressing. I don't know how anybody your age even thinks of having children, okay? Okay, millions of Democrats did not vote. Whose fault is that? We need to get ourselves together, and we might even need to be a little bit meaner, because the Republicans don't mind being mean.
And by mean, what do you mean? Do you mean protesting? Do you mean...
Maybe we have to, stop being so nice.
Because you seem like a pretty nice lady.
I'm a pretty nice lady, but I can be pretty mean, too.
Okay, and I have to ask this because people on the other side are going to say that they feel like the Democrat Party has been mean. Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people saying, oh, but, it's a terrible thing. No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead. Evil people have no place in my world. He was a hateful human being. It was disgusting, the things that he said and did. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I have to point my energy in other directions.
With a shirt that says "For Charlie."
Because I advocate for free speech, and I
Okay, you
absolutely love
free speech. Wear a shirt that says free speech. Wear a shirt that says promote free debate.
Free press.
You get triggered because it has Charlie on there, right?
Because he was a racist. Because he was a misogynist, and that means that you are too. Because you support him. Get out! Get out of here!
He hated people.
Yeah, just
he hated anyone
down.
that wasn't white, that wasn't male, that wasn't straight.
You know how I know the left is stupid and it's full of white liberals who just don't know any better? We drove by the No Kings protest and we played rap music, but it was like pro-Trump rap music. And all of these white liberals that are protesting are dancing to it because they're like, ooh, black people music, we should like that. That is how stupid these people are.
Thank God the left can't aim. Thank God the right don't write. Welcome to the home of the brave.
Do you ever notice how the same people screaming No King's Day are the same people who are cheering on authoritarian policies? Like, yeah, we get it. You hate Trump. You think he's some wannabe dictator. Fine. But let's not pretend like your side wasn't acting like royalty this whole time. Your side is the one that says if parents don't affirm their children's identity, then they lose custody. Oh, so the state decides how you raise your kids now. Yeah, that's not democracy, that's authoritarian. Then came lockdowns. You couldn't go to church. You couldn't see family. In some places, you couldn't even go outside without being threatened. Oh, but if it was a protest that you liked, the rules didn't apply. Convenient. Then your party never even had a primary. You didn't even let your own people vote. And you're worried about kings? And let's not even forget about the mandates, okay? People got fired if they didn't have it. Didn't matter if they had legitimate reasons, you just said comply or else. And during all of that, we weren't even allowed to talk about it. So yeah, tell me more about how Trump is a dictator other than, oh, there's just so many things, I can't choose one. Because I just gave you a whole list. But your side locked us down, picked your own candidate, censored free speech, and gave state power over families. You're not mad about authoritarianism. You're just mad that you're not the one in charge.
No King's protest. What the are you guys protesting? Are you protesting the fact that you live in the greatest country on this planet? And the fact that you get to protest means there's no kings in this country? What the are you protesting? Are you protesting the fact that Donald Trump is doing his job because the Biden-Harris administration this country up, open the borders to let anybody in, criminals left and right. And no, not everybody's criminals, but a lot of them are. And if you broke the law to get here, guess what? You're a fucking criminal. And here's a news flash for all you liberal Democrats that are paying out of pocket to go to these protests, which we know better. America doesn't want your woke agenda bullshit. We're sick and tired of being called racist because we don't agree with some bullshit that you're trying to push down our throat because 0.1% of the population thinks it's right. We don't want it. We want Donald Trump to do his job because that's what we hired him to do. You purple hair, lazy fucks hate your parents, you hate your boss, you hate anybody that holds you accountable. Accountability is a fucking word you have never uttered in your life, because if you had, you would quickly change from a liberal Democrat to a fucking conservative Republican, where we believe in accountability, where if you did something wrong in your life, it's your fault, and it's not the government's job to bail you out. I'm sorry that you pathetic individuals want to go to these protests and whine and bitch and complain about how fucking miserable you have it on the greatest fucking country in the world. People all over the world are looking at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You live in America. People that immigrate here, the reason that so many immigrants come here, they work their asses off and they get propelled to success is because they are able to witness the beauty in America and they take advantage of it and then they contribute back. But you fucking whiny liberal snowflake Democrats will always be in this victimhood mentality where everything is Donald Trump's fault. What happens when he's out of office and it's back to some Democrat politician in office? What are you going to do then? Who are you going to blame then? Who's going to pay you to go to these protests then? What the are you going to do with your life after Donald Trump? Do any of you think about that? Because there's going to come a day where Donald Trump is not our president and somebody else is. And then at some point, you're going to have to do something with your fucking life.
Millions of y'all protesting this Saturday? No kings? Oh, please. Y'all acted like Fauci was Moses parting the 6 feet at Costco while you stood in line for toilet paper and your 4th booster shot, waiting for your next commandments from CNN. Wore the mask like a sacrament. You kneel for BLM. You obey every rainbow rule that the leftist regime throws your way. But now you've got a problem with authority? Let's be real, you don't hate kings. You want them in fishnets reading to toddlers. You're not anti-tyranny. You just want the right tyrants. The ones who bang your gas stove, censor your speech, and inject your kids with whatever Pfizer says is holy. Jay Jones texts about 2 bullets in the head. Kids dying. And you say nothing. Charlie Kirk is assassinated in broad daylight and y'all throw a party. We used to be shadow banned, but now we're being shot. I'm not scared of your Etsy signs and your TikTok rage. I'm scared of a world where speaking truth gets you a bullet. And you clap like seals when they drag patriots off in body bags. Keep your little sign. I'll keep my Bible, my backbone, and a screenshot of every threat you pretended wasn't real.
Listen, if y'all want to go walk around in the street and protest anti-kings or whatever, go ahead and do it. But understand, this is a corporate generated protest. This is not organic. This is not organic. This isn't the people rising up. This is corporations telling you what to think. A gigantic list of all the people that are contributing to make this protest happen. Let's ignore the fact that so many of them get government money, but that's besides the point. So while y'all are out there blocking traffic, making the best out of your Saturday, understand that a very long list of very rich people are telling you what to do. If you're going to fight the oligarchy, maybe start with the things that they're forcing y'all to do to believe that you came up with it. You can come up with that. They created this. This is not... Do you see what I'm saying?
Whether that's strategic restraint or something deeper remains an open question, although we are the party of common sense. So there's that. But in the end, the No Kings rally underscores a timeless tension and presents some valid questions that remain unanswered. 1, how do we balance free expression with informed action? I mean, yesterday's events were, by most accounts, overwhelmingly peaceful, with organizers and law enforcement coordinating to avoid escalation. No major violence erupted, though tensions flared in spots like Portland, where counter-protesters clashed briefly, and turnout exceeded expectations in hubs like New York City, tens of thousands, and DC with over 100,000, but fell short of the millions everywhere hype in quieter areas like Jackson, Mississippi, where only hundreds showed up. I mean, we could probably pull together a better turnout if I just scheduled a meetup with all you guys, my channel subscribers, one day, right? But as we unpack the outcome and the fallout following yesterday's events, one thing's clear. In a constitutional republic of ideas, every voice counts. But so does digging beneath and exposing the truth. Stay tuned, folks, and stick with me here. And if you enjoy my videos like these, please subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second and it's 100% free. But it does tell YouTube you like me and you like what I have to say, and it really helps out a lot. Thank you. All right, folks. Now, here we are. Fast forward to today, October 19, 2025, and social media is ablaze, shutting down the entire internet over what many are calling the last nail in MSNBC's coffin. Just hours after yesterday's No Kings rallies wrapped up, a clip from MSNBC's coverage went mega viral, racking up over 12 million views on X alone. It showed what looked like a massive sea of people crowd surging through Boston Common with breathless narration, hyping it as live proof of historic turnout, according to MSNBC.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC.
MSNBC says analysts are calling this the biggest protest in American history, far bigger than any Trump rally. But there's just one big problem, the twist that's got everyone talking. Skilled internet sleuths and historians on X quickly spotted the red flags with the footage because it's not from yesterday's No Kings rally. And in fact, it isn't even from 2025 at all. It's recycled from August 19, 2017, a counter-protest in Boston against a far-right free speech rally sparked by Charlottesville fallout. That old clip, with its familiar aerial drone shots and crowd density and green leaves on the trees, was pulled straight from MSNBC's own archives and repackaged without a whisper of disclosure. So you see what I mean here, right, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, the No King's Day protest marches were an absolute disaster yesterday, and what just happened on MSNBC is nothing short of pure desperation for the failed Democrats and their defunct party. They are a propaganda and gaslighting machine, but they've got more than just a few screws loose. They've gone so far left and completely off the deep end, and now to the point where even other liberals are calling them out on their blatant lies and fake news and misinformation reporting. Organizers estimated yesterday's Boston event drew around 125,000. Impressive, sure, but nowhere near the millions hype and certainly not the wall-to-wall throng in that 2017 video.
Imagine being the Democratic Party right now and having the mainstream media shit all over your No Kings rally across the country when you used and propagated footage from a 2017 fucking marathon in Boston and tried to insinuate that it was the largest rally in the country's history. This is fucking desperation. Desperate. Once again, hey, liberals, look, if you were honest, start being honest with yourself. If you could be honest with yourself, maybe then you could, transcend that into being honest with other people. And maybe then people will see your integrity and then come back to the party. I don't know why I'm giving you advice. You're fucking idiots, but that's how you do this. You be honest with yourself. And again, that will breed more honesty. Don't fucking lie. The American people aren't stupid. That's why we've left your party in droves. Dumbasses.
And the backlash hit like a freight train. Conservative influencers like Shadow of Ezra called it the biggest fraud in American history, while even neutral users piled on saying MSNBC embarrassed itself by showing old footage to fake the crowds. By midday, hashtag MSNBC fake news was trending nationwide, with memes roasting the network as the king of recycled lies. And speaking of media lies, I'm sure you all remember from just a couple weeks ago, MSNBC's breaking coverage of the fire at South Carolina Circuit Judge Diane Goodstein's residence.
Of a massive fire that destroyed the home of a South Carolina judge who has reportedly faced death threats after a high-profile ruling against the Trump administration. The fire happened Saturday afternoon, about an hour south of Charleston. Flames engulfed the home owned by Circuit Court Judge Diane Goodstein, who, according to several reports, was out for a walk at the time. But the local NBC affiliate is reporting that 3 people were injured and hospitalized, including the judge's husband, former Democratic State Senator Arnold Goodstein. And with little details known at this time, law enforcement has been asked to provide extra security after the incident. It comes amid a surge in hostility and threats against judges, as well as criticism directly from the Trump administration, including for Judge Goodstein, after she temporarily blocked the Justice Department from accessing the files of millions of registered voters in South Carolina. Mary McCord is still with us. Mary, what questions do you have based on what we're hearing so far?
Well, first and foremost is get, what the investigation will reveal about who did this and what their motivation was. I mean, when you just put together the facts you showed in your intro, I mean, I think the first thing many of us think is, was this intentionally done because of that ruling? But we don't know that yet, right? That would be speculation. Could there be other causes for this? Could there, I mean, the footage is devastating. I mean, it's just, rarely have I seen a house, just one house, in such flames like that, and then the charred remains. It's just shocking how fast this happened and how many people were injured and could have been killed. And so it's a horrible, horrible, heinous crime if it was a crime and not something that was done by accident. And I know it's looking like arson, but getting to that cause. And if it turns out that this was motivated because of a judicial ruling that went against the Trump administration, this will be another escalation, of course, in what we're seeing when it comes to political violence. And I think it is bad always. It's bad no matter who it's directed to. But when it is a judge, I mean, the judges, their job is to rule in the cases in front of them based on the facts and the law, and to do that without fear or favor, to do that without any notice of or any consideration of politics. And so, this is the kind, again, we've talked today already about crossing Rubicons, right? And when you're starting to attack judges because of their rulings, we're in a very, very dangerous position in this country. And it makes judges fearful. It makes prosecutors fearful, as we know. It makes others in positions where they could be criticized by Donald Trump fearful. And he needs to know the power of his voice and how people respond to that. We've been saying this for years, Nicole, but if this is what this turns out to be, some sort of politically motivated act of domestic terrorism, then, the importance and significance of the things that Donald Trump says about a person just, again, will be demonstrated in this instance. But I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Well, I want to ask you what would be a normal response from the FBI and what, if anything, you've seen.
This follows their usual playbook of misleading spin. A former Obama DOJ official, Mary McCord, claims only speculation suggests the fire wasn't arson by a right-winger, yet the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, SLED, clearly stated, and I quote, "At this time, there's no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set, with preliminary findings showing no pre-fire explosion." But lo and behold, MSNBC's breaking news segments completely ignore these critical details. Notably, Judge Goodstein recently blocked the Trump DOJ's request for South Carolina voter data, but by omitting SLED's findings, MSNBC pushes a narrative removed from the facts, prioritizing partisan framing over accountability. So I think it's time the FCC says enough is enough. But MSNBC issued, granted, a quiet correction last night. And get this, they present it as archival footage used in error. But the damage has already been done. It's too little and too late. It's kind of like Katie Porter.
And I want people to know that I understand what I did was not good. I'm not going to mince words about it. But I also want people to understand that I am in this fight because I am not going to back down or give 1 inch when people are hurting Californians. And both of those things can be true at the same time.
But the internet lasts forever, and viewers' trust is eroding faster than their ratings, which have cratered 40% year over year amid the Trump era's media shakedown. The Democrats have lost so badly, and they just keep doubling down on more bad policy and ideas that only further hurts them.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very, very clear. If the Democratic Party becomes the likes of Zohran Mamdani, who, by the way, I like, not trying to throw any shade on him or anything like that, but if the Democratic Party becomes him, you have no chance. You have no chance on a national basis in terms of the presidency. In Senate seats in the House, you have no chance. You have no chance. I want to be very, very clear about that. You might have a Democratic Socialist sprinkled here and there, but that ain't what America is. America's about capitalism. America's about dollars and cents. America's about an economy, a flourishing economy. Okay? And you know what it's not about? Free stuff. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it.
But they refuse to listen to reason. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just a slip up. It's fuel for a fire that's been smoldering since January. Enter FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, Trump's hand-picked enforcer at the agency that's supposed to keep broadcasters honest. Carr, who penned the FCC chapter in Project 2025, has been on a tear, launching probes into news distortion at networks like ABC, CBS, and, yes, Comcast-owned MSNBC. You guys remember Trump's April rant over a deportation briefing MSNBC skipped? Brendan Carr jumped in, tweeting that the parent company was misleading the American public and hinting, even then, at license violations. Just last month, he warned ABC affiliates over Jimmy Kimmel's satire, flexing the FCC's public interest hammer to force concessions without even pulling a trigger. Now, with this Boston blunder blowing up, the stars are aligning for escalation. Trump, never one to let a slight slide, has already called out MSNBC on Truth Social as a disgrace to broadcasting, echoing his October demand to look into their license over Al Sharpton's show. Sources say the White House is directing Brendan Carr to treat this as egregious under the Communications Act, which mandates fair and accurate reporting for license holders. MSNBC can face penalties and fines up to $500,000 per violation, mandatory airtime corrections, or, in the nuclear option, suspension or outright revocation of broadcast licenses for NBC Universal stations. Granted, MSNBC's cable side dodges direct FCC oversight, but Comcast's empire feels the heat. And Carr's made it clear. Every remedy is on the table, including yanking airways if it deters this kind of conduct. The critics on the left cry First Amendment foul, but with a GOP majority FCC locked in since June, the future and NBC's consequences are almost certain. I mean, picture it. MSNBC, the Comcast-owned dumpster fire that's hemorrhaged $200 million in ad revenue this year alone, gets yanked down and taken off the air. Affiliates bail, primetime slots go dark, and the network's rebrand to MS Now in the upcoming spinoff, dead on arrival. And so that just leaves one last piece of the puzzle. And do you know who steps in to scoop up the scraps? Yep, that's right. Elon Musk, the one media mogul who's been torching legacy outlets while building X into a free speech fortress. Musk's already teased at the idea about acquiring a fallen giant for pennies, turning it into a truth engine rivaling his empire. And at a fire sale price, I mean, it'd be his ultimate troll, reviving the beast that's hated him most.
But this group of mega donors, bigger donors than we ever have seen, the likes of Elon Musk, who's campaigning more and harder than any business person, who might end up with an official or unofficial role in a Donald Trump administration. What do you think about all this, and what are people telling you?
Well, I think it's really scary territory. We have some billionaires in this country, and if you look at the top 10 donors to Donald Trump, they've given over $1 billion to him.
Just the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, and that was not counting how much more Musk has spent. Musk is in Pennsylvania. He thinks because he can do rockets and electric cars that he can figure out how to get people to vote. But he's got a hard assignment because the people he's trying to get to vote are low propensity voters. They're people that don't vote all the time. In fact, this bro thing that they've done, let's get the young men. Well, the reason they're bros is because they don't care about voting.
Yeah, if you're not leaving your basement, you're not going to vote.
Yeah, they're really hard to get to the voting place.
But let's zoom in on the human wreckage, folks, because this scandal shines a harsh light on MSNBC's on-air talent, many already teetering. Joy Reid, the fiery readout host, was axed back in February amid a brutal overhaul, canceled alongside shows by non-white anchors like Alex Wagner, Jonathan Capehart, Eamon Moyle-Linden, Katie Fang, and Jose Diaz-Balart. Rachel Maddow, pulling $30 million a year, blasted the moves as indefensible and unnerving on air, hinting at racial bias and axing primetime's only two non-white hosts. While insiders whisper she's got one foot out the door, eyeing podcasts or a CNN pivot as her Monday-only gig winds down post-Trump's first 100 days. And I think MSNBC is onto her because they've already started working in her clone replacement, it seems. Then there's the other cast of characters and usual suspects. Al Sharpton, whose weekend show slot drew Trump's FCC attention for hate speech. And isn't Al Sharpton under investigation for his campaign funds grift between him and Kamala Harris? Meanwhile, Ari Melber is getting skewered for endless Russia-Trump marathons, or Nicole Wallace, the ex-GOP insider turned never-Trumper whose ratings tanked after 2024. High earners like Lawrence O'Donnell, $10 million deal, and Stephanie Rule are reportedly in contract talks, but whispers of early exits abound, and Mika Brzezinski, co-host of Morning Joe, has been conspicuously absent for over half the episodes since Memorial Day, missing 26 out of 49 shows amid rumors of a secret war with MSNBC top brass over Trump coverage and the looming Comcast merger. Her tens of fans are begging for her return online, with insiders calling it a calculated flex during contract reviews, leaving staff fuming as they cover her shifts. While even veterans like Andrea Mitchell announced a semi-retirement in March, dodging the axe by fading to contributor status. But let's face it, folks, MSNBC or MS Now, whatever they want to call it, it's just a revolving door over there of big paychecks and bigger headaches, with staff layoffs gutting production teams, with over 100 jobs slashed in February alone. But as X keeps buzzing about, MSNBC's lie just lit the fuse. One can't shake the feeling that this is the tipping point. Will Brandon Carr pull the plug and thus handing Elon Musk the keys to the kingdom? Or does free press prevail in the courts? Either way, yesterday's rallies birthed more than chance. They sparked a reckoning for a network that's long danced on the edge. Tell me, what do you think? Fire sale or final curtain? Drop your take in the comments. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe and God bless.
So this is your birthday. So you came out on your birthday. You thought it was important. Tell me why.
Absolutely, because I have two little boys who deserve a bright future of freedom and democracy. And this is a nightmare that I'm living in. And I'm here to make a difference and to be loud and proud. And there's no other way I'd want to celebrate my birthday than with my parents and my best friend fighting for our country.
So for a birthday present, what do you hope happens? You know, you wake up tomorrow morning.
I hope that I see the obituary that we're all waiting for tomorrow. That's what I hope for.
You wishing that President Trump is dead?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm not protesting today. You know what I'm doing today? I'm going to be taking care of my children. Because I have kids and responsibilities. I don't have time to go stand outside all day with a stupid sign that says something that everybody in this whole country and around the world already knows, that we don't have a king. We haven't had a king. This man that you guys are pissed off about that is president, we voted for him. He won the popular vote. He won the swing states. Y'all need to just get over it. You guys are going to look so lame out there, and I'm going to laugh at you. I'm not going to do it to your face because I'm not going to be a jerk, but just so you know, everybody pretty much passing by you guys is going to be laughing at you because you all look like idiots. Go get a job or a family. Do something productive.
I think when it gets to the point where your party has to organize marches or rallies to protest against imaginary things or something that hasn't affected us for 250 years, just to pretend like they've achieved something, it may be a signal that the party is not doing well.